Greetings to all our participants. Before we start the program, here are some friendly reminders. Please complete the session so you can get a certificate of attendance from Global Alliance. First segment is Career World. Second segment is Jobs World that will start at 5:40 p.m. All participants who will be able to complete the two sessions will be given access to all the materials that were presented during the webinar. You will also get notifications and updates from Global Alliance as to the link for internship and job opportunities that will be launched in November this year. Thank you. And now, let us start the session. To give her welcome remarks and to provide you an overview of today's webinar, here's the organizing chair of this year's Global Alliance Student and Young Practitioner Month, the first Filipino director of Global Alliance, founder and CEO of Ardent Communication. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Ana Pista.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. First off, allow me to thank each and every one of you for taking time and making it to this webinar. I am so thrilled to have all of you joining us in celebrating the Student and Young Practitioner Month. We at Global Alliance are excited to finally meet you and do activities together. We have prepared this webinar series with the goal of preparing you all in the practice of public relations and communications. We have invited distinguished speakers from the academe and the profession to share with you the most relevant issues we at PR industry are facing today. About today's sessions, I'll give you a brief overview about it. Global Alliance for PR and Communication Management put this together, a series of online activities that are meant to give you a better understanding of the most pressing issues in the industry today. These activities, which fall under the No Movement campaign, form part of the celebration of Student and Young Practitioner Month, which is designed to further stir the hearts and minds of students and young practitioners looking to join the ranks of PR professionals in the future. As an approach, it is meant, the No Movement campaign, it is meant to ally the PR practitioners' worries of having no movement in their careers. This is also meant to excite PR students to become more engaged and to stay in the know now of the latest trends in the industry. Ergo, it's all about knowledge sharing and providing them with information that are useful, timely, and very much relevant now. We have three key takeaways for this session. The first is to provide a bird's eye view on the impact of artificial intelligence and similar other trends in the PR industry today, and then share with students the experiences of industry experts while working in PR-related industries. And last but not the least, provide tips on how young practitioners can get better in their chosen career. AI has recently been integrated into business systems that are perceived to be reliable and efficient. According to a recent survey conducted with students and young practitioners, AI might replace some of the work and tasks of people in various industries. How will this impact the workforce landscape of the communication or PR industry? Are we prepared for this? To formally kick off the session, I would like to turn the floor over to our lovely and vibrant moderator, Ms. Gladys Diaz, APR. She is the principal at GMD Public Relations Consultant Incorporated. She also serves as accreditation chair in collaboration with the Universal Accreditation Board of the Puerto Rico Public Relations Association since 2006 and is the Global Alliance board member since 2021. Let's all give her a warm welcome. Take it away, Gladys.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm Gladys Diaz, as Ana said, a colleague and a member of the GA Board of Directors. And I am delighted and honored to be here moderating this important session with students, university students, and new practitioners. To celebrate the Student and Young Practitioner Month in North America and Latin America, we'll begin with the Career World Session. It is an online seminar that will have industry experts engaging the students and new practitioners to discuss key trends and respond their questions. It is designed to further steer the hearts and minds of students and young practitioners looking to join the ranks of peer professionals in the future. Today's session is focused on a subject that is very relevant to you all, AI. Why? AI has recently been integrated into business systems that are perceived to be reliable and efficient. According to our recent survey conducted with students and young practitioners, AI might replace some of our tactical work, and that's something Jean Valin will talk to you more about in a few minutes. How will this impact the workforce landscape of the communication or PR industry? Are we prepared for this? We will find out soon. Let us start with our Career World session, and I am very excited to hear what our speakers have prepared for today. Without further ado, our first speaker is Mr. Jean Valin, my dear friend and one of my mentors, I should say. He's APR FCPRS, co-editor of public relations case studies from around the world. And very important, Jean Valin is one of the founding members of the Global Alliance and a former chair. So let's give him a warm applause from Puerto Rico and from all over the world to Mr. Jean Valin.
Thank you, Gladys. Thank you very much. And hello, everybody. Or maybe I should say, hello, humans. How are you tonight? Here we go. Let me just put this in slide mode, and we should be able to just go quickly here. Slide sorter. No, the wrong one. Where is that? Oh, wait a minute. I'm not getting the right fix here. No, I can't seem to get it. So maybe we go to the backup, please, because I can't seem to find my way to share those slides. There we go. Thank you very much. Right. So here we are. I've been looking at this AI phenomenon for the last 10 years. And what I found is that it's fascinating, it's scary, and it's also very exciting. I did a report on this in 2018 called Humans Needed. And this year we decided to update that research with Humans Needed More Than Ever. So today what I'll do is three things. I'll give you a 35,000 feet overview on the AI landscape. Then we'll focus on the impact on public relations, because that's the focus of my research. So what is the impact? How do we characterize the impact of AI tools on the PR profession? And then we'll talk about some takeaways for you in terms of what you need to know, how to eat this big elephant that we have called AI. So next slide, please. Here we go. The Economist has a very nice cover here from a few months ago. Is it God or is it the devil? And it's a bit of both, really. This is what I'm finding in my research. AI has been in development for at least 2 decades. The computational power has increased 100 million times since the last decade. Now think about that. My mind boggles when I hear that. 100 million times in the last 10 years. This is why we're here today. This is why AI tools are possible. Should we be amazed or scared? I'm going to say a little bit of both. Where are the guardrails? That's a good question. Governments are just starting to look at this. That's why there are upcoming regulations coming. And more importantly, why are the AI developers themselves asking for a pause? So we'll cover that lately. Next slide, please. Right. So the title of my report this year in 2023 is Humans Still Needed More Than Ever. It is a Wild West period. We're seeing so many tools developed and launched every year, every week, every month. Somebody's talking about the new thing, but really everything changed last November when ChatGPT went live. Everybody started kicking tires and going crazy about this. Remember when the internet was launched, we PR practitioners felt this was not our bailiwick. We left it to the IT people to manage, build websites. And then we suddenly woke up and said, wait a minute, this is a powerful communication tools. We're late to the party in terms of technological change every time. And where it's the same thing here, I'll show you later on another slide where the take-up of AI tools is really, really low. The potential for AI is equally good and bad. And this is why it's scary. And this is why it's exciting. The developers are worried about the weaponization of AI at scale. And it's a real concern if you think about AI tools in the wrong hands or in the hands of political operatives where misinformation is deliberate and it becomes a weapon. It becomes a way to win over your mind, which is a real concern for democracy. The other thing that really bothers me about AI is it's a total misnomer. There is nothing intelligent about these tools. They're not sentient, they don't feel, and they're not really smart. I want you to remember one thing from this presentation. All this is software. It's an algorithm that has learned how to guess which words comes after the next word that it's looking at. So this is all this is. It's a sophisticated way to guess words that go together in a certain context. Next slide, please. A recent study from the CIPR AI and PI panel found that there's 6,000 tools that can be used in public relations. That report is also available on the CIPR website. Go have a look. You'll see hundreds of new tools coming out every week from developers, and they're all hyping with this, I've got an AI running in the background and all that. It really is about automation. It's not really artificial intelligence, and I'll talk some more about that. Next slide, please. Will it take my job away? That's always been the big question. Goldman Sachs says 300 million jobs could be lost. Morgan Stanley says 44% of the labor force is affected by automation and processes of data analysis. They estimate it to be a 4.1 trillion impact, so it's not trivial. Most at risk are sales, public relations, marketing, art, design, writing, and any support function. The potential to increase GDP is by 7% globally, which again is not insignificant. Next slide, please. The AI market is exploding, $1.6 billion this year. Accenture predicts that the productivity boost is 40%. My research in our fields shows that this is a little bit less. 5% of jobs could be 100% replaced. So here you can start to take a breather. Not all jobs will be 100% replaced. In fact, my research shows it's a lot less. 19% of jobs could have 50% of their tasks replaced. This is from OpenAI. And it predicts also that 80% of PR jobs could be 10% affected. My research shows that's high, that's too high. Next slide, please. So what can AI tools do in PR? And I've got a green check mark against about the first four here. Media monitoring, they're great tools for that. Very safe, very ethical way to use that. Social media monitoring and analysis, no problem. Influencer identification, stakeholder management and monitoring, email marketing, and measurement and evaluation as well should have been on that list. That's all safe and ethical. Where it gets tricky is chatbots and content creation and blog posts, etc. Next slide, please. Right, I said that we weren't using it. Here's the proof. From a February 2023 survey, 4% only use it frequently, very frequently, 11% fairly frequently, 29% rarely, 30% never, but they plan to use it, they're curious, and 25% said never, I'm not planning to use it at all, they're scared about these tools. In May 2023, there was a latest survey that said 23% of agency staff were using AI tools, so you can see that there's an advantage here, and we'll talk about it in the findings of my research. Next slide, please. What can't AI do? It can't do empathy very well. It doesn't do nuance very well. You can't use it to build trust. In fact, it can bite you in the rear end the wrong way. It can't do humor. I mean, it'll attempt to do humor, but it lacks that feeling quality. So I wouldn't trust it to create humor. I certainly would not use it to build relationships with people that are key to my organization. And strategy and critical thinking, there are tools that can help you brainstorm here. But again, I would not abdicate my role to an AI tool to do that and blindly have it develop communication strategy. I would really have to challenge, and this is a word that I'll use again, challenge and oversight is really key when you're using AI tool. Next slide. Right, here are the findings from the research I did in August, which was published in September. I found that 40% of what we do is assisted by AI, and the range of assistance is between 20 and 70%. There's not a single task that's been 100% replaced by AI. Monitoring, media monitoring and social media monitoring are top areas with the most AI use and the most displacement of jobs as well. You should think of AI as an assistant. It augments what you do. It gives you a role in the governance and ethical issues of AI, provided you've trained up for it. You need to learn about not only about AI tools, but how they're built. Where are the biases? What are the challenges and risks of using AI tools? So you'll need to upskill in that area. Jobs are being displaced, not replaced in public relations. This is the finding, one of the key findings from my report. And there's a low level of adoption, as I showed you on the previous slide. Next one, please. Humans needed more than ever, because if you're using AI tools, you'll need to create an oversight function in the digital practice of public relations. You can't just trust the output of ChatGPT or even Bing, which I find is more reliable, but oversight becomes a key function to add to your repertoire. The challenge function is also important here before you launch into testing tools. You know, the adage, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. So this is a think about it twice situation. There are very real legal and ethical pitfalls here. From a legal point of view, ask yourself the question, who owns the content created by an AI bot? It's a real legal issue that's still going to be debated in the courts for probably the next decade. And there are ethical pitfalls as well of using AI tools. If you're an agency person using AI tools and you don't disclose the use of AI in your work, is that ethical? And if you do disclose the use of AI tools in an agency setting, well, your clients might not need you anymore. They might do the work themselves. So it's a catch-22, but there are ethical pitfalls all over these tools. You will be placed in a position to give advice on organizational governance of AI because it'll permeate society, it'll permeate every organization, and you'll need to skill up for that. Machines don't look back, they don't imagine the future, they only learn from large language models, and this is all they know. Don't expect them to know the latest news unless the AI bot has been tuned to scan the web in real time. But even then, you shouldn't trust the output just blindly. Next one, please. Right, from the survey we did a mixed method here for those academics in the room. We did a survey, we did some interviews, and we did literature review. In the interviews that we conducted, here are the word clouds that came up when we asked about opportunities, and you see the words that pop up there. Strategic, automating things, thinking faster, time, help, efficiency. And then the challenge is we get oversight, we get regulation, we get copyright, we get privacy, we get bias, and at the bottom we get crap, because sometimes you get crap. And if I had a few more slides to show you, I did that in the previous presentation. I asked OpenAI ChatGPT to do 3 simple things to me. For me, it wrote a very good, decent press release about the launch of a product. It did a very piss poor job at writing 5 taglines for selling soap to families. It was really a bad example of good marketing lines. Then lastly, I asked it to write my own biography, and it came up 95% wrong, completely wrong, and it had made me die in 2011. So I challenged it to correct itself 5 times. It did not want to. The good news is I tried it with Bing, another AI, and it got it perfect from the first try. So that's just on the side here. Next slide, please. Right, from the research we did, the survey results, we asked an AI to produce all the tasks that a PR person normally practices. It came up with 15. We looked at it with our own oversight, added a few more to come up with 21 activities. And you see from the spider graph here, the red lines show the activities where there is most assistance, up to 70% in some, mostly the social media management and the media monitoring score high here. If you follow with the numbers, if you can see the numbers on the screen. And the blue are the ones where mid-range or short range. And the shortest we've got is number 10, which is video footage analysis, and a few others that are really low. If you're interested in spending more time on this, go download the report and you can, think through any implications here. Next slide, please. Whoops, a little more, few more back, please. One more. No, sorry, go forward. Go forward by 2. Thanks, Kathy. Okay, we next map the results of our study against the global standard, the Global Capability Framework, which lists all the capabilities that one should strive to have at the end of a career or in mid-career. And you find, just a refresher here, there are 3 pillars to the capability framework: communications capabilities, organizations capabilities, and professional capabilities, each having sub-capabilities that you can read underneath here to give you an idea of how this is forward. So when we map the results against each of these columns, next slide, please, we'll look at communications capabilities. You see here where we got results. We got results in most of the areas except one, and I'll come to that when we come to that next slide. But Kathy Arrow gave us one great quote here when she said, "Don't forget that public relations is more than the sum of all sets of tasks." So in other words, it's not just about the tasks, what we do. There's an awful lot we do to give advice that requires thinking and other elements of our work. So next slide, please, we'll drill into the communications capabilities. There are the capabilities in the middle of the wheel. In the inner middle, you see the sub-capabilities of the communications capabilities. And in the outer end of the wheel, you see in darker shade where we scored a higher level of assistance from AI tools. So you see social media scoring a little darker. Where it's a little lighter is planning, some research, and some crisis management, where I really wouldn't trust a bot to do my crisis response plan. It might help me brainstorm on it, but I wouldn't use it during a crisis. So that gives you, again, it's hard to read. There's a lot to read, but go study it in the report and you'll learn what we found in the report. Next one, please. Drilling down on organizational capabilities, the same deal here. The darker areas, data analytics, social media management, anything to do with social media basically scores higher because it's easier to automate things. Where it gets less, in fact, there's a 0 here with partnerships on the the right quadrant below. You see that score is 0. So participants told us, no, there are no tools to help me do the partnership management with the people that I have relationships with. So again, it gives you a flavor for the variety of how the assistance plays out. Let's look at the last slide, which is personal capabilities. And here you see an entire quadrant that is white, which means there are no tools to assist. And you can read a little bit here what the sub-capabilities are. Able to offer professional guidance, which involves motivation, contributions to personal and team development, 0 there. So anything that has to do with developing yourself and others around you and your team, no tools to assist there. That doesn't mean there are courses that aren't automated and all that stuff, but really there isn't anything available here for that. And not much darkness here. If you see some of the scores, again, it's social media management that scores the highest, and data analytics as well. Next slide, please. So to sum everything up here, a few slides. There are murky legal grounds for using ChatGPT and other AI tools. And just because you can doesn't mean you should. There's the potential for mis and disinformation. You need to be reminded of that. And here's a quote from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. Read what he had to say just a few months ago. He's particularly worried about these models could be used for large-scale disinformation. And if this tech goes wrong, it will be quite wrong. He compares it to pandemics and nuclear weapons in terms of the impact it will have on society. That's not a light statement. That's a pretty serious statement from someone who's developing these tools. So our best advice is to limit your use of AI tools to narrow applications, simple writing jobs, illustrations, and design. They're safe and they're ethical. Next slide, please. Right, so for you, here's your call to action. Several things to talk about here. First, you need to increase your understanding of AI and its implication. I'll come back to that because that's important. Understand how that landscape works. And at a tactical level, develop a game plan for using these automation tools that can make you more effective. And don't be seduced by the shiny tools because they will change. Some of the products launched won't last. Think about tasks that you need to automate, not the tools themselves. A starting point is explore tools that are simple to use, low risk, and make you more efficient. And I'll give you one example. We used one in our research. When we conducted the interviews, we added an AI to the Zoom calls, which was recording our conversation, writing up a summary, a detailed transcript, and a summary and analysis. And it's called Fireflies.ai. It was very efficient. Within 5 minutes, I had a summary available for me. And then we fed it through another AI tool to aggregate all the interviews, and that gave us those word clouds. Declare content when you're using content prepared with AI. That's a key ethical consideration. I would not be comfortable presenting work that had AI if I didn't say so. You will need to check, recheck, and recheck anything prepared by AI applications because your reputation is at risk here. You'll need to upskill in these new areas of work, not just fact-checking, but prompt engineering, risk identification in AI tools, and consider the new oversight roles that you may take on and develop your professional capabilities to do them well. Because with new responsibilities, you have an onus to train, to upskill for that. And again, to stress on the ethical issues, they are large. There's bias in data. There's digital apartheid. There's things that are been excluded from data sets, and there are copyright issues. Next, we have a slide that talks about the call to action for professional bodies around the world. So next slide, please. Here we go. We're suggesting that all the PR bodies that are members of Global Alliance create structured CPD for their members on AI, guide them in the education and training providers that are the best to use, set standards for training and development, producing a model of AI communications and governance policies, because that's another area you might need to think about in your organization, develop how to use AI within my organization, collaborate with other partner organizations like other professional bodies of other professions. How are they tackling the issue? Update the professional codes of ethics in light of AI. This might be necessary now. Enforcing ethical standards in AI with members. Once they've been set, you need to enforce them. And lastly, compiling a bank of best use or case studies. So how do we eat this elephant? Then you were right, I'm done with this one. There we go. So we'll start from the bottom here. And I stressed this before, but it needs to be said again. Start by understanding what is AI. Read the profiles we've developed on this. What are the issues you should be looking at? What are the threats, the opportunities that they pose? What are the tool sets and their characteristics? What are the ethical issues? What are the implications for the practice and your organization? Once you've mastered that, move up to the use category here. Find out what tools are available. Focus on each area that you want to evaluate using a tool, whether it's search, planning, evaluation, visual content, or automated assistance. And look at the intelligent AI tools that are coming out. Some of them are pretty cool. I've mentioned Bing worked well for me. But be aware of ethical considerations and follow best use of case studies. In terms of governance, this is a new area for you to think about because it's not just about tasks, it's about understanding the issues of AI for public relations and organizations and identify the tools which has the most risk to focus your time on, and then use the tools that have ethical implications. Again, that needs to be watched carefully. Who is responsible for ethics and risk monitoring within your organization? Because you will need to monitor the effect of the use of AI within not just your communications and PI shop, but your entire organization. You'll need to take on that governance role and set up governance systems and policies. So next slide. I think we're almost at the end here. Yeah, this is a list of the resources we've produced since 2018, since the first Humans Still Needed report, the first analysis of skills and tools. Then in 2019, we have Introduction Skills Guide to Introduction of AI and PR, the impact of AI in the media, AI and data ethics, a skills guide. In 2020, Anne Gregory and I wrote the Ethics Guide to Artificial Intelligence in PR. It gives you a decision-making tree, which could be very useful here, and also the effects on AI on the professions, a literature review. 2021, we did the Big Data and AI Readiness Report. In 2023, just before Humans Needed More Than Ever, which is the photo here, my colleagues did the report where they found 6,000 tools. That's available. Everything is available for free on the CIPR website. And lastly, humans, I want you to remember on the last slide, resistance is futile. AI is all around us and it's not going away. So I thank you for listening, and I'll be taking questions, I guess, later on.
Thank you, Jen. That was very insightful. I know that our audience is waiting until Obed finishes to pose their questions. Very
Right.
interesting in terms of our profession and the impact of AI. I have a few questions myself, and I have seen the study Humans Needed More Than Ever. So it's recommended for all participants to download those studies to use as reference. Our next speaker for our Career World Seminar is Obed Borrero. He's president of Virtual Technology Consultants Group, and he's a tech guru, speaker, and media personality from Puerto Rico. Let us welcome Mr. Obed Borrero. Obed?
1 second, right now. Okay, perfect. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great, thank you. It's really an honor for me to be here with you. I'm here in Puerto Rico, and well, I'm gonna share some of my experience. Basically, I'm like a tech blogger. Also, I became like a guy that moved to TV and radio. So I have been working with a lot of communications and professionals like you. So basically, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna share my screen now. You want give me a second. So then we're gonna have some questions for you. I'm sure about it. Okay, and 1 second. Give me a second here. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm gonna, as I mentioned before, I had been doing a lot of around the world in different places, and that's what I want to share with you just my experience. And give me a second. Zoom quit this unexpectedly. I have an issue with Zoom here. Give me a second. Can you see me? Can you see my presentation here?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. I have a label like Zoom, something wrong. So let me know if something is wrong with my presentation here. Okay. So what is happening now? Let me give you a little bit. Mr. Chen explained very well that we have 1 million of time or capacity of computation. This is like a computer that this is my first time when I see this supercomputer in the CES as a Vegas. So this is one of those computers that are right now in the old data centers around the world. So look these images. This is Papa Francisco Bob. This is an artificial AI images. This is another image that was running around AI. This is really a big issue with some reporters or some media about what is real and what is not. I'm going to show you some tools that is around right now. Because one of the things that you have to do is begin to use, and like Mr. Chen was talking about, is if you don't use it, you don't know how it works. Okay. And recently, this is a very interesting thing. Right now, Spotify is using AI voice translation to produce content from their podcast in my voice, in the same voice. This is very interesting because next time, maybe next year, I'm going to be here speaking Spanish, but we hear my voice in English or another language, but it's going to be AI. It's very interesting. So I don't know if you are familiar with, but recently the new version of ChatGPT, you can talk with ChatGPT. So now you can use a voice, you can choose like a character and begin talking with AI. So what this means is maybe in the next month, I can make a call and talk with ChatGPT or AI, artificial intelligence, with a voice. I can create the voice. So many, in my experience around the world and talking with colleagues about AI, what usually people think is dangerous, scary. This is about, I'm going to lose my jobs. People right now will not use like professional from communication because people can write their own scripts on everything what is happening around with this. But I'm totally agree with Mr. Chen. I'm glad it's also about the AI will not substitute or will not create people or tasks that thinking or creative thinking will change. Okay, so we are now in this digital transformation, and what is happening now with AI is that AI is created to create value to the process, to be more effective, to be more productive in your task. Okay, and I'm gonna talk about. I have only 20 minutes, so I'm gonna like a brief my presentation, and also was in Spanish. I have to translate to English thanks to ChatGPT. So prompts is the main thing that maybe you will hear a lot about prompts. And for me, prompts is very important because it's instruction that play the fundamental role in generating response from artificial intelligence model like ChatGPT. So a prompt is information that we provide to the model to guide in generating the desired responses. Well, this is the like definition, but in my experience, prompts is like we have to put this technology in context. For example, if I ask a ChatGPT, hey, give me, I don't know, write a blog test or write a Facebook post for Christmas. Okay, it's going to be very generic. But as I said, for example, hey, ChatGPT, I need a Christmas post for Facebook for Puerto Ricans that have been working for the last decade after Hurricane Maria, for example. And the result's going to be totally different because I'm putting this technology in the context with the details of parameters. So the prompts is going to be very interesting in the next years and the next month. Also, there's a new profession that is prompt engineering. The prompt engineers are creating different kind of, we call like formulas or like prompts for you. So I'm really interested in learning prompts from different people because as the way you create prompts that are working for you is going to be like, you know, the difference between using the same tools and getting different results. Right now, this is my 10 prompts ChatGPT you can use. You can scan it. I'm going to share this presentation. The prompts of that document is in Spanish, but I will translate, of course, using a tool like AI to translate the document and then verify that everything okay and share with you. But you can do it by yourself also. So this is my like what thing. So I'm gonna bring this slide because it's very important. I don't know how many of you are using WhatsApp. I don't know in which part of the world you are. There's some countries that are using Telegram too, but it's very interesting what is happening right now with WhatsApp. Most of communications these days are using chats, like chatbots. So we are going to talk about also.
Abed,
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Uh-huh.
but I think the screen is not moving. We just stuck with one slide. So
Let
uh,
me which slide? Let me.
I think we got stuck with the coberturas inter there. Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, let me. I have like an
Yeah, I think you can continue on and okay.
really. So you only have that slide. Wow. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, clearly. Yes.
Yeah, it's look like I don't know. I got technology issues.
There, yeah, we can see
Uh,
it now. Yeah, we can. All
you can
right.
see now. You can see now the prompts.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
I
right.
can see it.
That's right.
Just
Okay,
keep going.
I will. Yeah, I will run my presentation from here. So I don't know, like a full screen. It's like I get an error from Zoom. I don't know. All right, this is the prompts I was talking about, and this is like my little formula for creating prompts. So here, if you scan this code, you will have access to those. But I will share with you and with Gladys so you have it. Okay. I'm talking about the importance like apps like WhatsApp or Telegram, and what is we are doing now, and what is a lot of people are doing is like chatbots are are being used a lot more in communications right now. You have the ability to go and chat. I don't know if you have the experience, if you have any issue with airlines or in hotels or governments also are using like this kind of tools. And I'm going to give you a few tools that you can begin trying to do that. But it's very important that we try that. And I'm talking about chatbot persona. And, you know, many of you maybe know like buyer persona. It's like you can say, okay, this is a person with this characteristic interest. But what we're doing now with some people asking is that we can have like a chatbot persona. It means I can have like chatbot is going to be like a Latina from 35 years old, maybe living in the West Coast, or maybe it's going to be in Puerto Rico, maybe in Spain. And we can create like, okay, this is the feelings, this is the way you're going to communicate with these people. And this is the words or the rules that you can teach to this chatbot person. And this is just the beginning. It's very, the first steps in creating like tools that can help you or your clients to communicate. And I'm not going to talk about the ethics part. And it's very important that in the future, if you are calling a human or are you calling a chatbot? In the next month, next year, that's something that if you don't ask, maybe it's going to be a chatbot and you will have a conversation with a chatbot. And this is some things that are happening right now. Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you missed the other slides, but I'm going to talk about some tools that I'm going to try. Of course, I think that many of you have been using OpenAI. That's cool. And I'm going to jump around, but I'm going to talk about this plugin. Chatbots has like a plugins. It's like an apps. And what I like from this plugin, like Web Pilot, is that I can use, for example, I'm a tech blogger. Let's say that right now, maybe last month, Apple have a new iPhone 15, and they have like a press room place. And what I did was using this Web Pilot. I want to try how it works. I say I want to create a blog post like a tech guru, like I don't know, have my style that came my prompt, and with this content, I just put the link from the press website, and it was amazing the results because it's ChatGPT go to the press room of Apple press room, bring the content and create my content in Spanish, and then of course I review the content. But it was very interesting to have this kind of plugin that can move around, and of course it can be used for bad things. Like I can use like a New York Times article and I say, okay, this is the link, and then it can create like a version of that article for the people that are using. So you have to be very ethical in using these tools, but the tools is already there. So I wanted just to let you know that you can try and use this tool to see what is happening now. There's another tool, another website that is POE, P-O-E. I like this site because you can try here a lot of this AI tool, generative AI tool, for example, this is Cloudy. I love this tool. Cloudy also, you can also try Llama, Bard. There's a lot of things happening around, but with POE, POE, or POE, you can try and check different AI tools in the same place. So this is a really good point. It's a really good start point to play around and see the same prompt, how it works, for example, with Cloudy or with Llama, with Chat GPT-4. So this tool is very nice. So you can go there and it's free for now. It's free. Also, Cloudy is really a competitor for ChatGPT. It's very nice, and also one of the things that I'm using with Cloudy is I can upload attachments and create like content related to that attachment or ask questions about that attachment. So it's very nice. Okay, okay, I'm on time. Well, this tool is a Retune. It's a very user-friendly tool to create your first chatbot. So I would like. I'm right now. I'm creating chatbots just to play around in the office. And I was joking with my family because I said I'm going to create a chatbot for myself, so my kids or my grandkids can talk with Obed, with the old Obed, and ask questions about what I'm thinking about and these years. So it's very interesting. So you can go and play around with that tool is very useful. And of course, when you go to the chatbot, and as I mentioned before, like a chatbot persona, we have the base prompt that is, like as mentioned before, this is a chatbot for this tool. Maybe this is chatbot is going to be for a church. Maybe it's going to be this is for Disney World. So the base prompts are going to be different. The answers are going to be different for the kids, from young people, from I don't know, for different kind of things. So base prompts and prompts you will hear that word a lot. All AI, especially in the AI generative AI tools. All right. I'm gonna explain this tool that is a little bit controversial. Is 11 labs. I don't know, many of you have been tested. And with this tool, I can clone the voice. I only need 2 minutes to clone your voice. And I was joking with this. Maybe I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear?
No.
No, we can't.
No? You can?
No,
Okay.
we're not hearing it.
Let me, I'm gonna check my share here. I'm gonna try to present this slide. Give me a second. Are you here or no?
No.
We're hearing the cookies in the background.
All right, well, I don't know. I'm gonna stop at the share screen 1 second. Let me go again. It's gonna stop. I'm gonna try to share my full screen now. Let me see. And also let me go this settings here. So I want to, maybe you can hear voice. Well, this is Donald Trump with the voice. It's a clone, of course. Let me share sound 1 second. Now I'm supposed to share 1 second. Now one.
Greetings to all. This is your friend Donald from Washington.
Yes.
My dear friend Obed Borrero, the tech guru,
Wow, Obed.
asked me to send regards to those participating in the 2023 residential seminar of the Association of Credit Unions Executives of Puerto Rico under the theme, The Impact of Climate Change on the Operation of Credit Unions. Enjoy your event in the Dominican Republic, by the way. Me encanta el mangú y el chicharrón y que viva el cooperativismo. Adiós.
So that's very interesting because, well, you have to be ethics to use this tool. But imagine that you have like people like Mr. President, Mr. Donald Trump, or Barack Obama. I don't know. Maybe it's the president of your company, and they clone the voice. And as I mentioned before, I only need like 2 minutes to do that. So it's important that you can play and use the tool, because you will be maybe working with these issues in the next month. And if you don't know how it works and where maybe it come from, it's going to be more difficult, because you will say how it was created. So it's interesting that you can use that. Also, here's another example. This is Ferdinand, this is a local character here in Puerto Rico. So
buenos días a todos y todas, bienvenidos a Jugando Pelota Dura. Un saludo a todos en el
But it's very interesting because it's really scary. It's really scary when you can clone a person and try to impersonate a person, especially when they are, in the communications area and the government, for example. Okay, this is the tool. It's 11 labs. So, well, take a look and check it around. Another tool that we are, playing around is Synthesia. Synthesia is like a tool which you can create your own avatars. Right now, you will notice that our avatars right now, you will see, some lip sync issues, but in the next months, I'm sure they're gonna be like, almost perfect. For example, I'm gonna show you here this video.
¿Qué es la inteligencia artificial? La inteligencia artificial es una rama de la informática que se dedica a desarrollar sistemas capaces de realizar.
Well, that video is in Spanish, but you have like a little flavor, like a little idea. Like I can clone myself or clone, I don't know, maybe your client can be cloned and have videos around. And what is happening now is that many people around, I was doing this kind of presentation around Puerto Rico and many places, and sometimes I'm asked about what people know about AI, and most of them think about robots, something like that. So it's very easy to create a video like this and create a really issue with person, because many of people around is going to be, let's say, hey, that was Mr. President said about the mango or whatever, and was not the person. Another tool you have to take a look also, it calls Beautiful AI. Use ChatGPT, and Beautiful AI is like a PowerPoint presentation tool for AI. So you can use a prompt, and the tool will create a presentation of 10 slides. Okay, it's very interesting. This is something that you have to be, of course, as I mentioned, and Mr. Chen was talking about, is to be ethics about using this tool. But this is a tool that's around, and it's really good. It's really working. Another tool, I'm almost closing. I have moving around tools very fast. So these tools, it's taking like 20 minutes to explain each tools, like all the details, but I'm moving fast so you can have like a bigger scope of tools, and then maybe we can do another like seminar like this. Active Pieces is a automatization or automate process in which I can, for example, imagine this, I can go to Active Pieces and say every hour go to Twitter or go to ChatGPT and create a tweet about this topic, about climate change, about, I don't know, different things. So I'm really worried about this information. So if this tool, I can automate like creating content for this information is possible right now. Okay, or maybe you can do it in the good way to create good content. But these tools is working. These tools is around. Around voice, for example, if you have an issue with recreating voices or maybe a recording, the Adobe is really moving forward in a lot of things in creating images, but the tool to fix audio, if you have an audio issues for any of your videos, recordings, meetings, this audio from Adobe is Adobe Enhance. It's free, and it's really good. And for transcripts, HappyScribe is really a tool that you can have. For example, this meeting, you go take it to take it to HappyScribe, take it to HappyScribe, and then it's using AI will transcribe everything, and you will have a really detailed conversation. And using AI, he can, or the technology can separate which voice, Obed and Jen and Anna. It's going to be very interesting for your daily tasks, maybe for meetings or your communications issues. Okay, I'm on time. I have more tools here. I want to just give you like a
Two
little
more minutes. Two more
glance.
minutes to go to the Q&A
2 more
session.
minutes. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna if I have 2 more minutes, I'm gonna be to this ChatGPT hack. It's a little hack. It's a little trick. I learned that I can go to a video like YouTube and they have the transcript, right? You can see all the transcript. I take all those transcript and just make a copy, go to ChatGPT and say, okay, my prompt, I say, create, in this case it's Spanish, create an article from this script. And I was really impressed when I have like a full blog post from that video, and it was really good because it was almost what Normando Valentin, in this case, this guy that is a news guy here in Puerto Rico was talking about in the video. So basically what I did was go to YouTube, take the transcript, copy that transcript, go to ChatGPT or other tool and ask the tool that create a content for me using the words that was transcribed from the video. It was really good. So basically, well, this is my chatbot. If you want a chatbot with the Tech Guru, you can go there. It's smartchat.net is like Guru, and it's our internal experiment. We are also using this tool, and we want to use on a good way. Try to discover all or the things that can do, and when you know that, then you say, okay, I can use this tool for this. I have to be careful with this also. So basically, this is my part. That's my information. So I'm
And
open for
participants will
questions.
receive a summary of your presentation, and so they will receive as well Gen Balance deck as a reference. So moving on to the Q&A session, I don't see any questions posed from our participants, but I want to talk a little bit more with Jen first about ethics, AI, and public relations. Jan, I have a concern in that area because I know there's no guidance strictly or especially for AI and public relations, but as practitioners, we do have an ethical commitment, and we do have to always say the truth, be accurate in our communications and in our actions, and be responsible as well. So your thoughts on that end?
Well, you'll be happy to know that in 2020, Gladys, we did create an ethical guide specifically for the use of AI. It's in the CPR website, the AI and PR panel. And in it, we've identified, I think it's 5 or maybe it's 6 major ethical issues that come up with the use of AI. And then what we do is we take you through a decision-making tree, step by step, to get you to arrive at the right answer. So there is
I will go to
available.
CIPR and download that.
That's very important that everybody that practices public relations needs to understand AI. That's the first thing. The second thing is they need to understand the ethical consideration. That's when you use the ethical guide. And the decision-making tree, once you've understood the issues that we highlight in the guide, start using it in your work, and you have more confidence that you're doing the right thing.
Perfect. Another thing, it's good to have tools to ease our job or to gain access to more effective use of our time, but we're responsible. It's our reputation, it's our expertise on the line. So we can use AI tools to create drafts or research, but we always need to explore deep down the implications and complement the information with our own expertise and with our own savviness. So
Own judgment. We have to use our own judgment.
Judgment
Don't
as
abandon
well.
judgment to an AI tool. You'll get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. The same way a lawyer did recently, that he used AI to defend a case and he lost his license as well because he relied only on AI, which is, you know, an oxymoron. You don't do that.
Right.
So these are tools that we need to understand, we need to use, but we are responsible and we are liable because our job, we are responsible for the implications for the companies that we represent or for our clients. So we need to take it seriously.
As I had one slide in my presentation that highlighted which tasks have tools that are safe and ethical. So I'd encourage people to start there. I think Obal talked about Happy Scribe. Well, I use Fireflies to record my interviews. And within 5 minutes, it had sent me a complete and accurate word-by-word transcript of the interview. It had analyzed it and it has summarized it. So this is valuable time-saving efficiency. One thing I forgot to mention in my presentation is we asked our participants, what was the estimated productivity gain by using all the AI tools that they had in their office? And the answer we got is it varies between 15 and 25%, which is pretty significant, really. I mean, you shouldn't be ignoring tools that will save you between 15 and 25% of your time. You know, translation tools, again, I've tested those. I wrote an historical essay for the Museum of PR on Canada, and it wasn't available in French. I wrote it in English. I found within Word, there is already a tool in the review function, and it translated to French for me. I edited it. I had only one word to correct. Just that's it.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that you can have some
Amazing.
faith, and participants in our study use it as well for translation in their office. Again, no issues, very high level of confidence using these tools. But remember what I said, this is not true AI. This is automation.
Exactly.
It is not smart. It is only predicting words. It is only what it knows, only what it learns. And these are large
Exactly.
language models.
I have two more questions before releasing you because I know your time is of the essence. Jean, there's an anonymous question saying, how do you see the PR industry for the next 5 years looking forward? What are your views on the industry and the upcoming years?
Well, I think it won't take 5 years for AI to be permeating every aspect of your work, which is why you need to upskill right now. But what I see is increased use of AI. I also predict that there'll be very major screw-ups because we've used AI. So that will be crisis communication time. You'll be salvaging reputations, repairing reputations, because people will start using it, and I can guarantee you someone will use it without checking and overchecking or thinking through something, and mistakes will happen. And so that's going to happen in this industry. It's going to happen in every industry around the world. So if you're serving organizations that use AI tools within their own work, you'll have to clean up their messes as well.
Yeah,
But
we
the
have to
flip
do our
side, the
job.
good side to this is that you'll be using tools that will make you more creative, you'll save time, like the presentations I use in PowerPoint. I use the designer option within that to create these slides. This is simple. This is automation. It's not artificial intelligence, but it's cool. You know, it's cool.
And saves time for you to think and research and do your homework and think in the strategic level that it's expected from us. Another question for you, John. While doing the study on AI and its impact on PR, what particular challenges did you encounter, if any, and how did you overcome them? Also, I understand that the study was conducted as early as 2018. Will you be conducting a follow-up study in the future?
Well, let me correct that. The study was done twice. It was done in 2018 and it was done in 2023. So the results I presented today are fresh. They're from 2023. The challenges we had also in 2018 was identifying what are the tools that people are using and what activities have tools available. In 2018, it was a complete guess. I used a panel of about 20 people who were using AI, tech gurus type within the PR industry, to help me map out and predict the impact. And we predicted by then that the use was low. The impact was around 12%. And we predicted that by 2023, lo and behold, this year, when I did update the research, we predicted it would be up to 38 to 40%. And that's exactly what we found this year. It was right on.
Which is a significant jump.
Yeah. So how we overcame the challenge is I use an AI tool. I use a generative AI tool called Omni, and I asked it to list for me all the activities in public relations that have either been replaced by AI or assisted by AI. And within 30 seconds, it gave me 15 activities that made sense to us, the authors of the report. We looked at it with some oversight and we added some more, so we came up with 21. So we used AI to help us brainstorm, if you will, without having to do extensive research to identify every activity separately. AI tools were able to aggregate things for us and speed up the process.
One final question, and we'll leave you to move on to some questions for Obed. An anonymous participant says, we now know that AI can be great helping hand in getting our work done. but there are also people who would question your credibility and work quality once they see that you've used an AI tool. What then should you do in such scenario? You talked a little bit about that. Like there are clients who won't give you your work much appreciation once they see that AI has been used.
Yeah, I think the key there is to use transparency if you're using AI tools with clients or even within your organization. Yes, it has a somewhat checkered reputation right now because there've been some very well promoted screw ups and different things that happen. There's a number of them that happen every week. People that automate tweets don't think about the sensitivity of certain things. So I can remember one, I think it was a fast food chain in Europe, and they automated celebrating a calendar event. You know, Google Calendars had those preset things. Well, it had highlighted the night of the Crystal Palace in Germany, which is when they started to trash all the Jewish shops. But you don't celebrate these things, but nobody
No.
was checking that. They were asleep at the wheels. That's why I say there'll be many more of these events that will damage reputations, and that's going to continue to happen until people learn. Don't just automate without checking.
And that's where our expertise and knowledge and in-depth strategy and planning will come handy. And
We
of
still
use.
need
Thank
public
you.
relations people. We need them more than ever.
Exactly. Thank you, Jean. Let's move on to Obed. Are you here with us
Thank you.
still, Obed?
I'll be saying goodbye now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean. Hasta la
Bye-bye
vista,
now.
amigo.
Jen, nice to meet
Bye-bye.
you.
Ciao, ciao.
Obed, thank you for staying with us for a little while.
Of course.
I have not received any questions from participants, but I want your point of view in relation to the example that you shared with us with the automation of the resemblance of the voice of someone like Donald Trump or a politician or someone like that, because that represents ethical issues and challenges. Because your voice is out there, and somebody having 2 minutes of it could replace the scene and the context, and it might be you saying something when it's not really you saying something.
Yeah. Well, that's technology is always in that part an issue, because when social media begins here, it's not intended to. It's not was social media was not created for bullying or creating bad stuff, but there's a lot of people around using social media to use it in the wrong way. So AI is a tool, and it's really something that can change the way that we work. But in this case, you have to be very aware to be ethics in using the right tools. For example, I was talking with a guy that create videos and said that tool is really useful for me when somebody have bad pronunciation or something in the you have a politician like Mr. Trump, for example, and they want to create like a little things about what is supposed to said about an issue. Maybe you can, I don't know, fix a word, something like that. It's going to be perfect for that. But most of this technology are showing like, look what we can do. And for example, in the case of Spotify, we have like a global audience. You can have like Obed Borrero's voice or another, I don't know, for saying something like, I don't know, Bad Bunny or any artist.
A personality.
Yeah, can be singing in multiple languages with the same voice, with the voice. So, it's an issue.
I see the advantages of having such a tool because, for example, a practitioner like me, I do not speak German, and I can be speaking German to somebody else using AI tools. So it will help me to convey a message in a language I do not domain. So I see the advantages, but at the same time, the challenges, the ethical challenges.
Yeah.
And there's another concern of mine in relation to AI, and it's related to misinformation and disinformation, because as you know, AI has been used to control some messages and control some audiences, and even the context or the approach where AI is used to manipulate or to use propaganda messages, which are contrary to what public relations do. So there's a big concern there. And I don't see any more questions for you. So I don't know if you want to say any final remarks to our participants so we can end this session for now.
Yeah. My advice is you have to use the tools. There's no way to, understand what is happening if you don't use it. We need to use it. We need to clone our voice. We need to go out there and play around with the tools because it's gonna be somebody's gonna use it. And if you are, the last person to understand that that's something that is happening, so you can help your client, help your people to understand what it's doing, also prepare for a scenario in which these tools can be used against the institution or your interest or your person. So, well, this is part of what is happening now. It's only a picture in this time because we don't know what's going to happen in the next year, on the next
It's
month.
evolving. It's evolving. AI and technology is evolving at such a quantum
It's really fast. It's really fast.
velocity. Yeah, very fast,
Yeah.
as you mentioned and Jan also mentioned. So thank you very much, Obed, and thank Jan, which is already had to leave because of other commitments. It has been a very interesting discussion. I hope all participants enjoy the conversation. They will be receiving a certificate and they will be receiving the decks in English so they can understand the information as a reference. Thank you also, I would like to thank the Global Alliance for the opportunity to moderate this interesting webinar and invite you all to stay tuned because we're going to have in a few minutes the second part of the webinar, which is called Jobs World. Thank you all and see you in a few minutes. Bye.
Yes, everyone. Thank you so much, Gladys. Thank you so much, Obed. And of course, we thank John. We've got, as you can see, we've got the best speakers and moderators in the house. And we can thank them enough for, doing this for our budding PR and communication practitioners. We look forward to having all great PR and communication practitioners in the future. So also thank you for staying. And as what Gladys mentioned, you have to stay put because we have a very interesting discourse later on. It's about tips and the things that these speakers and experts would tell you in order for you to be prepared if you get into the world of PR, because I understand that this is what you're doing in the school, this is what you're already doing at work, and to further hear from the experts, to further elevate your skills and to further understand how things are. Questions like mental health, questions like fees, questions like, is it really good to stay put in doing PR? And then what's the standard of PR globally? Then you have to stay tuned in the next 5 minutes. And we will be introducing a new set of really stellar speakers in the house. Thank you.
See you in a while.
Hi, everybody. My name is Justin Green, President and CEO of Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communications Management. I'm here today to tell you some very important news. This October, Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communications Management is putting together a series of activities that will give students and young PR practitioners a better understanding of the most pressing issues in the industry today. Now, these activities, which are under our banner of No Movement campaign, will form part of this year's celebration of Student and Young Practitioner Month. For this undertaking, Our ultimate goal is to help further stir the hearts and minds of young practitioners who are looking to join the ranks of PR professionals right around the world. To do this, we will assist PR students and young practitioners in expanding their knowledge and networks. We will also share with them inspiring stories so they could have and will have a greater appreciation of the PR profession. Now, our speakers, many members of the academic and industry practitioners, are all experts in their field, and they will help explain the vital role that young practitioners and students will play once they join the industry. That said, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to join us in making this year's celebration for Student and Young Practitioner Month a success. To our regional councils from Asia Pacific, Africa, Europe, Latin America, North America, and the Middle East, South Asia, I'm counting on your support again this year to make this endeavor happen for young students and young practitioners. On behalf of Global Alliance, I wish you all the best, and I again encourage you, each and every one of us, please join us for Student and Young Practitioner Month during October 2023. Thank you.
Before we proceed to the second session of this webinar, participants, please be reminded of the following. Please complete the session so you can get a certificate of attendance from Global Alliance. All participants who will be able to complete the 2 sessions will be given access to all the materials that were presented during the webinar. You will also get notifications and updates from Global Alliance as to the link for internship and job opportunities that will be launched in November this year. And at this point, we would like to request for Ms. Ana Pista to start the session.
Hello, hello, hello again, students and young practitioners. How are you doing so far? I'm hoping that you find this day productive because all topics and discussions are timely and relevant, and these are beneficial to you as future practitioners in the industry. Let's have a short recap before we move on to the next session of this webinar. Earlier was about Career World, which is about AI, how AI is changing the world of the PR industry, and an online seminar that steered the hearts of student and young practitioners looking to join the ranks of PR profession in the future. Moving on to the next part of our seminar, I would like to turn on the floor again to our lovely and vibrant moderator, Miss Gladys Diaz.
Thank you, Anna. So we are again with our participants to start the Jobs World session with a panel of experts from all over the world. And we would like to introduce them and to begin the conversation about the subject matter. And once I introduce them, Anna will introduce the highlights of the survey that she did in relation to topics that are of concern to students or of interest to students and new practitioners. So we begin with the presentation and introduction of our panel of experts from all over the world. And we are beginning with, who do we have first? Is it Peter Mutia? Yes, Peter Mutia is Executive Director and CEO of Peterson Integrated Communications Ltd. and a colleague at the Global Alliance Board of Directors as well. And we also have with us today Rene Beneke, Associate Professor at the University of Johannesburg. And also with us today, we have Tato Carbonaro from Brazil, very close to Puerto Rico. He's Director of Communication and Institutional Relations, Doctor in Communication, ECA, USP, and a specialist in institutional narratives. We also have with us today Bernardo Fiol Costa. He's a colleague from Puerto Rico. He's president and founder of his company, the Big Think Group. And now, before starting we also have with us Claire Ryan from Canada, who is Director of Public Relations at Coke Inc. And now it is time to pass it on to Anna to share the highlights of the study, the recent study that the Global Alliance did on PR trends and insights from around the world. Anna?
Thank you, Gladys. This is going to be quick because I know that you have lots of things to ask our panelists. But yeah, just to give you a background, this is a survey done by the Global Alliance. All right. Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communications Management has recently come up with a study entitled PR Trends and Insight from Around the World. This is an effort to get an actual snapshot of the global PR landscape. Now, to do this, the Alliance asked various types of questions to industry leaders, directors, and PR agency owners from Australia, Bangladesh, China, India, Kenya, USA, Canada, Peru, Hungary, Ireland, Indonesia, and the Philippines, to name the few. What we will be sharing with you today are highlights of the survey, which we believe can help us better understand the issues and future trends that await PR practitioners today, especially in the age of AI and automation. But before we share with you the highlight, let us first go through the details. Next slide, please. We'll talk first about economic value of our profession, employment, and opportunities. The survey reveals that the PR profession is now $1 billion industry. In terms of economic value and employment opportunities, it's said that US tops the list at USD 70.3 billion, followed closely by China at USD 11 billion. Then UK 3.3 billion and Ireland 1.2 billion. And then coming in Asia Pac, Indonesia has USD 760 million. The average salary that PR offers is also bigger than in other sectors. So it differs from different regions. In Ireland, it tops the list with $74,000 US, followed by New Zealand, $60,000, Canada, $55,000, USA, $54,000, and Finland, $53,000. It's good to note that in Kenya, it's USD 12,000 and Indonesia, 10,000 to bring up the rear. In terms of employment and job opportunities, Finland has the most number of employed workers in-house. When you say in-house, it's within the brand, corporations, you know. Next is Kenya, 80%, 67%, Canada, 59%, USA, Puerto Rico, 25%. Now, how about those working in PR agencies? In terms of agency work percentage, the US, 55%, followed by China, 42%, Ireland, 35%, and Finland, 4%. Now, those who we call self-employed or publicists, it says that in Puerto Rico has the most number of self-employed PR practitioners at 50%, followed by Canada, 22%, and USA, 20%, Ireland, 10%. Finland and Kenya bring up the rear with 2% and 0% respectively. Next slide, please. Okay, what are the expectations of those working in the PR industry? Next slide, please. A survey on the main working roles and expectation of PR practitioners was also conducted. So if you're going to work in a PR industry, these are the top 8 skills or know-how that you should be possessing. These ones get the highest votes. Strategic planning, crisis and issue management, media relations, event management, community relations, CSR, ESG, digital communications, and social media. Next slide, please. To break it down, you can see that in Canada, those in highlighted text would be in blue. In Canada, top 4 would be strategic planning, media relations, crisis issue management, and digital social media communication. Now we jump to USA. First is crisis comm, ESG, digital communication, social media, media relations. Puerto Rico, the top 4 would be crisis management, social media management, media relations, community relations, and event management. And in China, it's event management, strategy planning, and new media operation. Let's go to another country. Next slide, please. In Indonesia, top 4 would be strategic planning, crisis management, and media relations. In Finland, again, strategic management, media relations, social media, and digital and online management. In the Republic of Ireland, the one that tops is communication strategy, general media relations, event planning, crisis management, and digital PR social media. And in France, it's community manager. Next slide, please. In Kenya, they're much into events management, social media management, and online communication. In New Zealand, still strategic communication, media relations, community relations, and crisis communications. In Peru, crisis management, digital PR, event planning, communication strategy, and community relationships. In the United Kingdom, it's strategic planning, media relations, community and stakeholder relations, crisis issue management, and management of people and resources. In Kenya, oh yeah, okay. So that's it. Now, what about threats? If you're in the PR company, working in a PR company, what are the threats that these companies face as of today? In Canada, mainly financial constraint, reputational risk, negative social media campaigns, and then misinformation and disinformation. In Puerto Rico, the threat is AI and deepfakes. Value perception weakens relative to increase in other non-PR related companies and shrinking news media outlets. Let's go to China. The importance of position of PR industry. In Indonesia, also financial constraint. In Finland, organization commitment, work engagement, and mental health issues. Next slide, please. Republic of Ireland. The threat is staffing, fake news, lack of professional legislation to practice. In France, a threat to sector, loss of attractiveness of the job, you know. Kenya, digital revolution, artificial intelligence. New Zealand, good staff are an issue because they need more new staff and good staff. So if you're planning to work outside of your country, then New Zealand is the best choice. Peru, an acknowledge of the scope of profession, confusion, and a lot of fake news and disinformation. Next slide, please. Hungary, talent, ethics, technology. Bangladesh, layoff, artificial intelligence. India, job loss due to AI. Blurring lines of digital influence, rate of talent upskilling. Philippines, spin doctors, trolls, fake news. Australia, adapting to AI and new technology. And China, after the pandemic, customer communication budgets are decreasing. Next slide, please. Now, I'm going to give you key takeaways out of the survey. Next slide, please. Among the threats now facing PR companies, practitioners, and the profession as a whole, it was revealed that misinformation and disinformation, fake news, AI, and deepfakes remain among the most common among all countries surveyed. Need for continuous learning. Based on the survey, there are countries that still give way to maturity and experience. Thus, to become a successful PR practitioner, it is important that you continue to learn and adapt to the needs of times. New technologies like AI will continue to emerge. Learn to accept the change. Also, age is just a number. So if you have the needed skills, there'd still be work for you in the industry regardless. Being a PR executive is one of the most stressful jobs in the world. Fifth, according to CareerCast, if you really want to succeed, you should be capable of handling stressful tasks. Regardless if you are male or female, it takes more than the knowledge of AI tools to become a true PR practitioner. Now let's, dive into the discourse and discussion. I turn the table back to Gladys.
Here I am. So I believe that we have already our panel able and ready to start the discussion. I haven't received any questions, but I would love to start the conversation in the same way as if we were in a round table. We're in a square frame. But I would like to start talking with Peter Mutia and Rene Beneke about their impressions on the highlights and the conclusions of the study, because I know that you both participated in the Europe and Asia Pacific session. So maybe your thoughts on the findings of the study, Peter and Rene.
Okay, thank you very much, and good evening, good morning. I don't know what time it is here in Kenya.
It's 4 p.m. in Puerto Rico, but I know it's all over the place, different timing. So it's okay if you say good morning, good evening, and good night.
Yeah, it is going to 1 a.m. here in Kenya. But
Wow.
Look, the survey that was done by Global Alliance has provided very good insights on where our profession is headed to. Some of the threats that have been presented there are actually real, and we as professionals need to address them. But I think I would like to look at the opportunities more than the threats, because in my view, and given that we are living in the age of communication, the opportunities for PR professions are immense. And one such opportunity, which has actually been presented as a threat, there is AI. From where I stand, artificial intelligence is actually an opportunity for us. An opportunity in the sense that it is making us more efficient and more productive. Some of the things that would take us long to do, we can do them quickly and efficiently. So it is not competing, but complementing what we do as PR professionals. So my view is that opportunities are many, and we should ride on those opportunities, of course, as we address the threats that have been highlighted in the study. I would like to give that as my take for now.
Perfect. And then adding to your point, an advantage that young practitioners and university students have is that they domain the new technologies. So they have that chip already as part of their set of benefits or priorities. So they have an advantage in terms of using technology. Renee, are you with us so you can share your thoughts on the findings of the study?
Thank you, Gladys. Yes, it's wonderful to listen to all the views and to have a different take on some of the key findings that what we dealt with on Wednesday. I think one of the key things that came to light for me was that the core functions and the importance of the work that public relations actually contribute to organizations and society has again been highlighted. And yes, AI is a tool, as we've heard tonight, as well as on Wednesday night by our excellent speakers. And for a young practitioner, yes, we have students being in the native space of using technology, being, at the forefront of actually just testing these. There's still a sense of mastery that I think that is needed. Mastery of what's the effect if I try this tool in this context to achieve this. And that, I think, is something that we have, as Peter has said, as a great opportunity for our young people and our students, our young practitioners, that we as more experienced people can perhaps guide them in what can be a possible outcome when we use a scenario. And that, I think, is for me the exciting part of the partnership that we need to develop between young practitioners and older, more experienced people, and that can actually use this the various core functions to come and be more established in our various countries.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I am getting a lot of questions, which is turning this discussion very interesting. There's an anonymous question that says, how does one know that if they are suitable for PR? I believe the question should be, how does one know that you are suitable to become a PR practitioner? Maybe that's something that Bernardo and Tato Carbonaro can jump in and address.
Absolutely. Hi. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning if there's someone in the morning. I think the best way to understand if you're suitable to enter the PR business is to get an internship, start working, get your feet on the ground. There's another question about if you should try to do an internship. Absolutely. This is an industry that you only know if you're going to like it when you get your feet on the ground and you see the dynamics of it. So my first recommendation would be to try to get an internship, either working at an agency or at a company or as an independent or with an independent consultant. But it would be the best way to start with your career.
Perfect. Tato Carbonaro,
Great.
do you want to add something?
Sure. Well, good evening, good morning
Hi.
for everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, I totally agree with Bernardo that once you put your feet in the professional, you feel more of that. But I do think that you can have some thoughts before. If you don't like people, you're not suitable for this profession. You have to like people. And another thing that I think that's essential for communicators is to like to be well informed, because communication it's always that people that you're expecting to give scenarios and give interpretation from things and be the light of the company. So if you like to be well informed and you like people, I think you get a start for the profession.
Renee wants to jump in, so jump into the discussion. This is the beauty of it.
Absolutely. I have to just add that many of my students come in, and Tato, I fully agree with you. You need to have that interest into the human race, and not only computers or technology, but many of my students come in completely atypical when it comes to the general profile of a public relations person, being shy and very introvert, and you would never ever think that they will be good public relations professionals, but they actually and become beautiful professionals. And to add to what Bernardo has said, my challenge to education institutions and to those practitioners in the room is actually to try and find opportunities to involve students while they are studying. To not only have internships at the end of a qualification to see, after the 3-4 years that I've been studying, am I now right? Why don't we include it from the initial stages by having practical experiences? With AI, we can now have beautiful scenarios and simulations that we can develop for students to actually be introduced to what it is that we are expected to do, as we've seen in the survey. And the challenge is there for us to use AI as a tool to have these scenario plans and these simulations done for us.
That's a great recommendation, because I had the opportunity of and the experience and the privilege of having a supervised internship, but it was at my 4th year at the university. So what if I was not the right person to become what I at the time thought was my only option to practice? I would like Claire to jump in before I go back to Bernardo, because we have her also as part of the discussion. Claire, any point you want to point out, or any question that you I am seeing few questions here.
Yeah,
What
I
is
mean,
the
I'll just
typical
add
day?
a brief comment to what everyone else is saying, which I align with everything so far about internships and getting experience that way. I would always say to I try to encourage young professionals, in particular those who are already working, to not discount the possibilities in volunteering. So whether it's with a chamber of commerce or other business or something you're passionate about, if you love animals, SPCA, that like find an organization that aligns with your interests and your values and offer your skills in that way. And it gives you just kind of a unique space to continue to build your toolbox and your skill sets and your network in a way that is separate from work, but still kind of aligned with the growth of your career. I think that's really important, and it kind of just helps you be a evolved citizen as well. But it's a really great way to get a bunch of experience and not feel like you're working 70-hour weeks because it's something you're interested in and passionate about. That can kind of help progress your career in a really expedited way.
Thanks. Bernardo, you wanted to add something before I jump into the other questions? I have plenty of questions from the audience.
I just wanted to add something very quickly about what Dalian said in terms of opportunities when you're studying. What I'm seeing, and I saw this for the first time last summer, is high school students wanting internships in our agency to see if that's what they want to study. So we're seeing a generation even younger getting their feet wet, and on the ground with this industry. And I thought it was really productive for them to choose their, what they're going to study in university.
Which is something that is a standard operating procedure, for example, in architecture. That's something that high school students used to go to summer internships to see if that's the profession they will pursue. So it's interesting to see that's happening in PR. Another question for the floor, whoever wants to jump in first. It's a colleague says to become, a student says to become a much more successful PR practitioner. Up to what level of education should I aspire for? Is a bachelor's degree college enough, or should I still go for a master's degree or a PhD?
Can I come in there? And
Peter?
Yeah, you see, our profession requires us to be informed in very many spheres. Apparently, we are one of the few professions that can work in any sector. You can be a PR person in nuclear power plant, in the energy sector, in health, mention it. So we are required to have a wealth of information. First of all, the communication skills, but also, expanding our horizons by having other relevant skills relevant to the organization that we work for. So I would like to encourage students, as you do your master's or bachelor degree in communication, master's in communication on PR, to also expand and get other skills. Probably an MBA would be an added advantage. Understand some information, some skills in human resource, because you are going to deal with all kinds of professions within your organization. So being all around is very important. And there is no limitation in how much skill you can acquire. And by the way, in the C-suite, if you get all those skills combined with a thorough communication know-how, you are material to sit in the C-suite.
Well, I totally agree with Peter in some way, but I just want to add for the young practitioners that one thing that's really important that for you to not stay with your bachelor's and that's it. I'm learning everything from my company. After some time, we are looking for people that's trying to search for new things, learn new things. So doesn't matter if you're seeking for a PhD or an MBA or a specialization. We communicators must be curious, and curious about knowledge is something that we are looking for when we are hiring people in our companies. So just to add this hint that I think that's important for those that are thinking and building their career from the beginning now.
We are eternal students because we need to understand the business of our boss or the business of our clients. So we need to always learn about politics, economy, geopolitical issues, and how does that impact our profession. Renee, you're a professor for a few decades now. You have a long-standing trajectory, so you can add much more to this answer and to this context. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Gladys, you're taking me back a few years or decades, as you said. Yes, I started in after I did my first degree. I did start into the industry and worked for 12 years and then went back into the academia. So for me, it has always been very important to make sure that we keep on learning. So I often say to the students, if they hear since when I've been studying or being a scholar, they are saying, oh no, never ever are they going to study that long. But we need to be, as Tatu has said, always curious of what is around us. And in line with what Anne Gregory and Paul Willis wrote about contextual intelligence. And you know, it can be very complex, but it can also be just something as simple as being plugged in and being present as to what's happening around us. But there's something else that I want to add, and that is the understanding of the individual, of me as this role player in this context. What do I add value to the organization, to the society, to the volunteer, as Claire has said, the volunteer situation where I'm working? Do I know what is the value that I'm adding because I know myself? So self-reflection, those skills of reflection, which we very often don't learn in our formal educational programs, is something that you need to master as well, so that you can really add that final touch to what it is that you are aiming to do.
And if we are not knowledgeable, and if we don't dominate the business of our boss or of our clients, we will not be invited to the C-suite. We will not be invited to the management meetings, and we will be considered only a tactician, a technical person that supports the operation, and we should aspire to be a trusted counsel. So we are eternal students and learners. So that's something very important. Somebody says here, what is a typical day for a communications professional, PR practitioner like you?
There is
who
no
wants to
typical
start? Bernardo?
There is no
There's no
typical.
typical day.
No, seriously, I mean, if I always say, if you're looking for a job, a career that is very structured and you know, 9 to 5
is not.
Friday, this is not for you. I mean, it's one of the beauties of this industry. You know, it's so dynamic, it's ever changing. We deal with crisis. Crisis happen when it's least, you know, you expect it. So there's really not a typical day. You have to be ready for the unexpected, to change and to adapt quickly. So if that's in your nature, I would strongly encourage it, but I don't have a typical day.
I want to chime in on that. I think that is also the answer I always give. There's no such thing, but I do think there are routines and practices. I know we would all have them, of like scanning the headlines, like things we are doing every day. So the work we are doing is different. Like it cannot be understated how no 2 days are the same, but there are things that we all have that are a part of every day that we have to do and need to do to keep on top of our industry, our sector. So that is a way you can kind of build some structure and routine into a career and practice that doesn't offer much routine and structure.
Maybe something, what do you do every single day that, regardless of the dynamics, for example, you have to be watching and reading the news constantly? That's something that regardless of the
And
day,
start very early in the morning.
and start very early in
Yeah.
the morning. I mean, you know, so I agree with you, Claire. There are some things that within our unstructured daily life, there are some structures that we have to do.
Well, there are meetings also, a lot of meetings.
Yes.
And lots
So
of
we
catching
have
up.
to be very organized. We have to be very organized and prioritize and always keep thinking on how to outsource or how to assign tasks to other people that are part of the team, because our role is more strategic and more into the assessment that we provide. I don't know if Peter, if you want to add something to this point.
Well, I think the question was really what are the major responsibilities that we do, and they've been mentioned there. Media relations is one key responsibility, and we are keen on that because it can injure reputation, which is a key deliverable that we are supposed to be keen on. But besides that, there are so many other things that we're doing. I mean, PR is a management function.
Exactly.
So you'll be involved
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, you'll be involved in planning. That's a major deliverable for us. You know, counseling the top leadership, because a lot of times crises are created, you know, by perhaps counseling not coming in good time. And we find ourselves in trouble managing fires. So really the duties are many, they are varied. It depends on sometimes on the sector you are in, but there are common denominators. And one such common denominator is media relations, because it's a key deliverable for us.
You mentioned the management function description of our discipline, and it's very important to stress that, because sometimes there's a misunderstanding of our role and our discipline, and there are over 300 definitions about what public relations is. And at least I use the one that the Universal Accreditation Boards endorses, which is that is the management function that establishes mutually beneficial relationships between the company, the brand, or the product, and the publics on whom it depends. So it's a very broad discipline. It's not only communications, it's not only media relations, it's planning, it's understanding of the context, it's understanding how to manage the reputation, how to manage the environmental scanning, how to avoid issues, how to early identify situations that can be of concern for the company, and how to avoid crisis as well, which is very, very comprehensive. Another question, for those who wish to seriously pursue a career in PR, could you please share a few tips on what particular skill sets or abilities that they should master or train for? Who wants to start? You mentioned already a few tips.
Well, I can mention one, maybe learn how to listen more than speak. And that's something that we think about communication as someone speaking something in communication areas. Listen and choose the right tools to get this listening inside the company or your clients, depending where you're working. That's fundamental for your success in the career.
Yeah.
Listening and the feedback and the sensibility and the empathy that we need to have to connect and to achieve the social harmony and the social balance that we should aim for. That's a very good point.
I would say too, taking everything you're hearing, and this is a kind of a muscle you can build, but teaching yourself how to synthesize all of that information in a really concise way, because you're taking in a lot from your different audiences, stakeholders, employees, customers, whomever. But when you are reporting up about that, it has to be kind of quick and concise. So how to take in everything and then summarize it in a way
Translate it.
that reflects the business objectives of your organization, and in a way that's going to be relevant to others in the executive team.
I think I'd like to add something, then I can let Renee come in because she is the trainer here. But a lot of the stuff we do is communication. So you must be polished in both written and spoken communication. Public speaking is a good skill. We speak a lot. Written communication is also very important because you must deliver messages clearly to your respective audiences. So sharpening your communication skills is very important. But for me, what is absolutely necessary is for you to fall in love with your profession. If you don't like what you do, you never excel. If there are any guys that I envy are the radio DJs. They are paid to play music, and that is what they like most. So if you choose your career in public relations, then you must fall in love with communication, and you will enjoy the profession.
That's a
I
lovely.
think you wanted to say something.
No, you go first, Bernardo.
Okay.
I'll add, don't worry.
It's fine. I totally agree with you, Peter, and I just want to add, for me, it is critical that you know what's going on in the world. And when I say world, it's not only your community, it's your country. We're much more globalized than ever before. So, and as someone said earlier, I think it was Peter, this is a profession. Maybe I don't know if it's the only profession, but it is a profession that deals with every other profession there is. We meet with lawyers, with human resource, with executives, with management, with marketing, with sales. And we have to know what's going on in everything in different industries. So that our global awareness of current events, for me, it's critical to excel in this industry.
Renee?
Sure. What we are demonstrating to people online is actually the co-development of knowledge. By adding all of these different voices and different interpretations of what public relations is, we're painting a whole different scenario than what our definition sometimes says, because our definitions have certain boundaries that we impose almost in what it is that we are trying to do. So we teach, now you are controlling, and I have a big critical question about, especially when we talk AI, and as we saw that Obed did, voiceovers, how do you control that? Can we manage that? But that's a different discussion. But that, so the point that I'm making is that, as Claire said, a person who is successful in public relations is somebody that can take a whole range of diverse views, diverse sets of information, and condense that into something that makes sense and motivates others to certain action. And that's where this clear, it's not this clear-cut division that we used to have. This is now marketing and sales, and now we're talking PR. So we've moved away from that, because in the end, we all want to achieve a certain result. May it be a brand that we are promoting, may it be an individual, a country, whatever the context is, or the scope of this project is, we all want to achieve the same results and goals. So the strategies and the plans that we put together to achieve that are all made up of what it is that the community, and that's where we forget when we are doing management, and that's a critical question or ad that I want us to have, is somebody needs, in public relations, need to be critical. You cannot just be somebody that walks the old-fashioned road of this is the these are the parameters and these are the 4 steps and the finishing class. You know, that is the only way that you do public relations. Public relations, as Tatu said, the first thing of public relations is we need to listen. And we need to know what the stakeholders that we are dealing with actually, what matters to them, not what matters to the organization or to us, but what matters to the stakeholder.
Just
Point
add one
to
thing
start the
to
conversation and on generating understanding. You have to be you have to pay attention, you have to listen, and then you have to understand and meet at the middle. It's not what the company wants, it's not what the community wants, it was the commonalities and the shared values. Very interesting. Another question for the group, speaking of stressful tasks, there was also this notion that being a PR executive is one of the most stressful jobs in the world. CareerCast has actually labeled it as the 5th most stressful job in 2013. That said, what advice can you give to students and budding PR practitioners so they can prevent getting burned out easily due to stress? What a very good question, because we get burned out. Your recommendations?
If I can add there, I've had a student last year that actually studied in amongst young professionals and young practitioners exactly this topic. And what was found that because of the hours that we work in this industry, as Bernardo said, you know, there's no 8 to 5 kind of parameter that we work in. There's very often a sense of a lost creativity and lost personal time, which is in the long run becomes a big issue. And because the entry is so entry levels are so demanding, people burn out in their first or second year of practice. And us as senior practitioners and leadership within organizations need to be very careful that we pace our young people, and that the young people also realize that there's a journey. It takes time to achieve certain things. And sometimes we are too impatient to actually let something good. It's like good slow food, you know, a slow cooked meal is often much better than something that's fast and instant. And a good career also takes time to actually develop, and it's a journey. It's where you really excel on various things. But a very good finding by Hannah Newbold, my student, was that our young practitioners have a lot more support structures available to them, which we need to assist them with. So they need to become our stakeholders within the stakeholder group, and that we build opportunities for them to counteract and to have the passion that we spoke about earlier on. Start building the well-being amongst our junior and our entry-level or young practitioners.
Claire, could you add something from your standpoint?
I think when I think back on my first 3-5 years, if I could do anything differently, it would be being aware of the fact that being burnt out, being tired, being stressed does not make me a good practitioner. Like, there are things you need to be on the ball, and figuring out what those boundaries need to be, kind of concurrent and as equal importance to all these other like practical workplace tips we've been talking about today. That's, I guess I would advise people starting now, or students, like, think about the same way you're thinking about what skill sets you need to build. What are the practices and things you need in your life that help you be, operating at 100%? Do you work out? Do you volunteer? Do you go to church? What is your thing? And working hard to institute those boundaries right from the get-go, I think would be wise, because it's an always on industry. The phone is, and for all of us, it's always in our hand, it's always dinging. So what are the things you do, and keep that top of mind right from the beginning of your career, so that it just kind of becomes part of your approach to the practice, is that balance piece. And that will help you in the long run become a better practitioner, because you are operating at that higher level all the time,
Make a balance.
instead of going 1,000% and then crashing, then recovering, going 1,000%, crashing, recovering again. So a more balanced approach, you're better off in the long term. Absolutely.
Something that I
Peter.
tell. Oh, I'm sorry, Peter.
Oh, it was Bernardo. I thought I heard Peter
Peter,
trying to say something.
Peter. Go, Peter.
All right. So, I have gone through both in-house PR positions and now agency work. And I think agency work is more stress than in-house, because our clients expect service any time of the night.
They don't wait.
They don't wait. One of my clients is an aviation organization. And they will call at any time of the night if there is an incident or something that requires to be undressed. So we have to learn how to flex to fit within these timelines. But again, we are working at a time when flexibility also, through working at home and all that is possible. So how flexible you are, if you worked many hours probably previous day, you can take time off and don't burn out, because if you do, then your productivity is very seriously impacted. That's one. But what I've also seen agencies here in Kenya do, we also have social amenities within our offices. Some, not necessarily a bar, but a social place where after a hard day, you can sit with your colleagues and relax and rewind. And I mean unwind. All those and other amenities like club facilities, if you can afford for your staff, is a way of avoiding burnout. But generally, if you are in agency environment, there is a lot of demand from our clients and they want service now.
Just to add something very quickly, something that we constantly are conscious is the difference between what's important and what's urgent. And that has been critical for us to determine and to prioritize. Because for our clients, everything is important, obviously. Mm-hmm. But we need to prioritize what's important and what's urgent. And that translates it into a better, healthier working environment.
And not everything is a crisis. You cannot live in an eternal crisis, and we have to educate our clients as well. I have another question from Ralph Fajardo.
May I add something just before you move to the next question? I want to shed light on another point of view here, that I think we put a lot of responsibility on the guys that are entering now in the profession about burnout, how they have to behave and how they have to find a way to not burn out. But I think that's responsibility of the managers more than anything, because it's the culture of the company would say anything like, to put limits in our clients. If you work for an agency, you have to be backed by your boss or anything like this. Or if you work inside a company, the culture of the company and the way they behave inside the company will determine the way the entry levels will work or dedicate. Because sometimes I feel we're always saying for them, know your limits and you have to know when to stop. But as managers, we're asking them, come on, I need nap for a half an hour. Oh, I have to go to school. No, you don't have to go to school right now. Finish this. The client is more important. So I think we have to take our responsibility in the burnouts that we're seeing around as managers and, more senior practitioners.
Right. The management has to have some responsibility as well in terms of the well-being of the staff. And one question from Ralph Fajardo is, based on the survey, it was stated that there are countries that give weight to the maturity and experience. In the US, for instance, most PR professionals are aged 35 to 44, 40%, while in Canada, 31% belongs to the 45th and 52 age bracket. The opposite, however, may be said in Asian countries such as China, where a large majority, 65%, are in the younger age bracket, 25 to 34, as well as in Indonesia, where 31% of practitioners are employed at an even younger age range of 18 to 24. What is your take on this? Tato, let's start with you.
Okay. Well, I could guess we need more information to do like more reflection about that. But I would guess that it has to do with the maturity of the market, because when you have many people on the base of the market, it means for me that communication is seen as an operational or hands-on job, not very strategic job, because senior levels would be in marketing or would be in human resources, and those are taking the decision for the communicator. So I think it has to do with the maturity of the market, this aging differences.
Claire or Renee?
I think sorry, thanks. Tato, I absolutely agree with you. I think it's got to do with the maturity of the market, because in both those Western countries, PR was and is a very established industry, where in China it wasn't that established. So I can understand that the entry level and the younger cohort coming into the industry is a lot younger, and we also have a lot younger population, remember, that than what we have in the other countries. But I want to actually highlight something that came out of this and can be linked to something, to another finding in the survey, was that there are more females and then men. But if you look at other stats and at other surveys, there was also more men in higher decision-making positions. So again, it shows the profile of our industry being that of in our Western countries, such as North America, the Americas, and Europe, there's a far more bigger dominance of male and senior males, more mature people in senior positions, and the younger generation only entering now in the last few years. So for us as senior people in the industry, we need to make sure that there's succession planning of the younger people in the coming into the industry, which works with this across generational boundaries. So we need to practice our own skills, in not just for our clients and for the stakeholders and their audiences, but our own within organizations. Perhaps we need to look at ourselves a little bit in the mirror and say we need to practice our own skills.
Someone else wants to jump in, or should I move on to another question? Okay, I'll move on. In terms of gender diversity, it seems that globally there are more women PR practitioners than men. Do you think women are more capable of handling the stressful tasks, quote unquote, related to PR than their male counterparts? If not, then why do you think the Global Alliance survey showed that there are more women PR practitioners than men, as high as 91% in Finland, for example?
Well, let me come in here, and I think the main factor is mostly historical in terms of how our education system, and I'm talking about now Kenya specific, and I think it also reflects in many countries how the gender perspectives were probably promoted through the educational historical systems. STEM, science, mathematics were basically seen to be subjects for boys, and girls were more into social sciences. And that could be a factor. But it's changing. It's changed actually. But because of the absorption of the previous gender in those particular subjects, there could be more women than men. But it has nothing to do with which gender takes more stress or is able to, as more shock absorbers as far as stress is concerned. I see it from that perspective.
Okay.
Especially from this part of the world.
Bernardo, you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for Tato or for Peter, but I think we guys can do only one thing at a time, and women are more multitaskers. And this is a multitasking industry. So maybe that's why you see more women in this industry. That's one thing.
You make me laugh.
They're laughing here in the office. But it's true. I also think that in terms of communication, the interpersonal relationships, you see women leaning more to that area. Also, from an industry standpoint, I think I run an agency, and I compare it to other industry, more corporate level. We are more flexible. And in terms of, we have to acknowledge, especially in Latin countries such as ours, that women have more roles as professionals, as mothers, are caretakers, and we have to give them that flexibility that sometimes other industries, and I'm not going to name them, but more traditional, more corporate oriented, don't give them that flexibility that they need to do so.
Fair?
I'm going to answer a question with a question, because when I hear these sorts of stats, I always wonder, and maybe this is something for the Global Alliance to look into someday, but when I think about all of the people who arrive at PR via unconventional paths, I'm not talking about people who graduate high school, go into a communications or PR program and start working, but we all come across some people who did different things. It'd be so interesting to me to understand what their motivations were to leave whatever they were doing. We know like a lot of journalists move over to communications, but I've met teachers who have switched. I've met people from scientific backgrounds who have switched. So
history teachers.
Yeah, so it'd be just I'm not going to posit a guess why the gender divide is the way it is, but I always wonder when I hear that. I mean, that stat's been around, the numbers differ, but it's been around for a long, years and years. But I wonder because when you compare it against what we talked about earlier with PR being considered such a stressful job, what is it about this practice that is appealing for people who have pursued other paths and then decide, what I think I have a knack for or I'm interested in is communications? I think that would be just something there's a PhD for somebody somewhere in that.
That's a good thing for a thesis, for a doctoral
yeah, but
thesis.
I think of that every time I hear those kind of figures to say, well, how for all of those who didn't have, I had a very linear path. So, but I think I'm in a minority. In that. So for all those other folks who did other things, what was it about communications, if it's known as being stressful and always on and kind of high octane, what was it that brought, are we all adrenaline junkies? I don't know, but yeah, that's
a good question to explore and to research. Somebody else wants to jump in and share some thoughts?
Gladys, I would like just to say something, because for quite a while, I was doing part-time teaching at the university, actually masters in communication. And my observation was that in a class of 25, 23 would be women, only
Wow.
2 men.
Wow.
I don't know whether it's the same case, Rene. I would like to hear from your experience, but I have seen more desire from the female gender, especially because of the girl child movement, to to want to do more, and because of that, the mix is actually changing. And here, most of the senior positions in PR are being held by the women.
Wow, that's good to hear, because in Puerto Rico, for example, if you go to our annual convention, you'll see like 80% is women and 20% is men. Bernardo, is that your
Well,
perception as
20.
well?
In my office, I'm the only guy. To give you a perspective, no, it's true.
I think,
It's true.
I
So
think
it's
we're missing.
90-10, Tato.
I think this statistic miss one thing. How many women are in the leadership of communication, not in the market? And so they are more, I think that's a thing of opportunity and where they feel more comfortable. And then I agree with Peter, that's a historical thing, but it's also something like, you know, where I agree with Bernardo, that's a flexibility as well, but that's something structural of the work of the market, that you're not allowing people to do other things in other jobs, and then they're searching communication. And I don't know, just speculating, but I know that in Brazil, we have a lot of women in the leadership of communication, but there are still much less than men.
Good. So one last question before all of you give a final remark or a final recommendation for university students and for young practitioners as well. It was sent anonymously, I'm sorry, and it says, I am from the Philippines and I wish to be able to work abroad, like in Canada or in the US, where the pay is usually higher. Is pursuing a career in PR a good idea? How should I prepare for it?
I would say if you're
Claire?
somebody who has an appetite for travel, you should absolutely pursue it. Like, so take the kind of earning potential, career potential. If you're someone who wants to live other places and experience other things, public relations would be a great career avenue to enable you to do that. And then I would say, you know, get to know, if you're starting work or looking at work, you know, look at sectors or industries that have a global footprint, right? So I work in seafood. There's seafood all over the world. So like that could be if you worked in, you know, finance, there's finance all over the world. So consider maybe starting out in a sector or an industry where there could be those moves that could get you from one company to another in other places. But yeah, there's lots of interesting opportunity all over the world.
And you're based in Canada, maybe
I'm based in
Bernardo
Canada, yeah,
can
but I
tell
have colleagues all over the world, right?
And your
It's my
CV
company,
to Claire.
And maybe
Yeah.
Tato that is based in Brazil and Bernardo can support or add on to the point of the person that stated the question.
From my global south point of view, let's say like this, I think there are two things that could be essential. I worked for some international company as King's College London and Comfort Whiskies, those both based in the UK. And it was important for me, but seeing other colleagues as well. First is, you know, you have to know languages, and English is fundamental, but other languages will help. And knowing the culture of countries and understanding the word would help as well. And one very practical hint that I could give is work for some international companies, because the company is always looking for talent all over the world. So if you're a good practitioner in Brazil, they might send you to Germany if you work for BASF here or something like this. So To be quick, I would say this three things.
Bernardo, in 30 seconds, your recommendation.
Just do it. I mean,
Love it.
Come on, it's not that easy. There are a lot of bureaucratic things before you just go.
just explore the opportunities. Just follow your passion, and you know, if there's something that you really want to do the research and take the risk.
A really
Perfect.
practical tip, and I would be remiss if I didn't offer this in my role with the Canadian Public Relations Society, is if you have a country in mind where you want to go, you can go, what is the professional association there, whether it's CPRS, whether it's the Americans, wherever, and give it a follow on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, and you can start to get a feel for they're posting job opportunities, they're posting profiles of members, like all of the societies and associations, kind of, that's the content, right? So it could give you a feel for some of the people and the opportunities in the places without having, like, in a very passive way right now, to just start to understand from a high level what an industry might be like in a certain country. That's just kind of an easy way to.
So before ending this session, I would love for each and every one of you to say in 45 seconds or 30 seconds your last recommendation or insight for students and new practitioners.
I would say, I won't even take 45 seconds, that you should just go for PR 100%, because even if by the end of your course of study or by the end of a few years, the skills and experiences you will have are so applicable to so many other aspects of business that the kind of room for failure is non-existent, because you may end up changing paths, but the things you will learn and do pursuing PR will inform your career, whatever path that may take, in a really positive way. So
thank you, Claire. Bernardo.
I would add, as also, and I said it at the beginning, try to get as much experience as possible. Internships, volunteer programs, it's the best way to really learn about this industry. So that would be my final thought on that.
Tato?
Well, I can add that the communicator's role is to build relationships. So pay attention how to build relationships. Travel around the world if you can, around your country. Talk to people. Get connected to people. That's your role as a communicator. That might help you in your career.
Renee?
45 seconds for an academic is difficult. But I think for me, I always try and get this message through to my students: be confident in who you are. Take your common knowledge, your understanding of the world around you, and offer that together with your scientific knowledge and the things that you learn in a formal course, which is non-negotiable. You have to learn, because that's our entry level. But use the combination of your own knowledge and new knowledge to be the best communicator and relationship builder that you can be in a diverse set of contexts.
Peter?
Well, expand your horizon. Get as many diverse skills as possible, and do what the big cats do. They mark their territory, and they enjoy that territory. You have the opportunity to serve in the best profession and to enjoy it.
Great. It's been a pleasure having you guys in this so very interesting conversation full of insights and knowledge. You're very knowledgeable. You're experts in the field, so it was an honor to be the moderator of today's session. I would really like to extend my gratitude to our Global Alliance executives, to our panelists, and to our attendees for participating in this session. I am very happy to be part of Global Alliance Student and Young Practitioner Month celebration, whose leader is Ana Pista, and she has done a magnificent job. Big round of applause for her. And I hope that we can see each other soon, very soon, again in next sessions. Anna, I don't know if you want to say some final remarks.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. You know, from the start, I was like really wanting to think of how we're gonna put together the best of the best speakers in different regions, and this one proved to be very successful because you are all cooperative leaders in the field, experts, you know, and from different, you know, levels, and I'm sure that the three legs, you know, Asia Pacific, Africa, Europe, and now Latin America and North America, our students have flooded, you know, our chat box with too many good words and was wanting to have more. So it only proves that we have met our goal, and I thank all our speakers for doing so. And just like Gladys mentioned, you know, and all of our speakers reiterated during the 3-hour conversation, the internship and job opportunities. I'd like to announce to all of you that Global Alliance is actually putting together this site for internship globally and job opportunities globally. And I encourage all our speakers to participate in that. If you have internship in your offices, we have had so many speakers that are like having their own agencies. And please participate in this endeavor because we want to make things very global. If I'm from the Philippines, I can do internship in Puerto Rico, and if
Yeah,
you're
we are expecting you here. We're expecting you here.
we can
We
do
open
in
arms.
the US. Yeah, so this world is becoming smaller and smaller each, and it's making us more, you know, uniquely tied together. So thank you all, and I expect that from each one of you. Let's continue to build the budding, you know, PR practitioners to become experts in the future, and this is the legacy that will leave them. So Gladys, thank you so much. Peter, Claire, Renee, Tato, Bernardo, Gladys, till our next event. I hope this is not the last. And this concludes the 3 legs, you know, sessions, the webinar series, and I thank you all. For the students, I want to make an announcement. All these things would be recorded, and everyone would get the link to this. We're just gonna sort of like edit it a little bit, that of Africa. So if you failed to see, for example, the session in Asia Pacific, there's an opportunity because it's gonna be run the whole month of November and even December as per your request. So no one will miss this. So thank you so much. Thank you for participating. And I conclude now the webinar series of the Young Student and Young Practitioner Month. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Bye.
Take care,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Take care.